it's not clear what you mean by long term, but I think being in a prison, away from family, away from community, away from friends, away from doing any meaningful activity, is deteriorating. I mean, I think it begins to change your mentality. You begin to think less well of yourself. In some ways, when you're a prisoner, the way you survive is by acting crazy, so other prisoners won't bother you. So, you have to convince other prisoners that if they bother you, you'll kill them. People I know, it said, my job was to act crazy. And then sometimes I did really crazy things. Almost every prisoner gets out of prison in worse shape than they went in. I mean, they're not penitent. They're angry because they always believe the sentence was unfair, even if they know they committed a crime. 6 years was too much for robbing a grocery store or something. They are less suited to be reintegrated into society than if they had not gone to prison, if they just went for a short term. The other thing is that when you live in a prison, you live in an all-male society. Other prisoners, guards. And like being in the military a long time, you come to live in a male-centric environment. That women are only fantasy. Women are only sexual fantasy. So the social insanity syndrome is that over time, many men prefer the company of men to be in an all-male setting. And they're unaware that it's almost like a high to be with men rather than with women. So women, it's also awkward. So yes, something we've done a little bit of research on. And again, it's something that I think I'm the first person to talk about it in this way, that for many men, there is a high, an unconscious high, of simply being in the presence of other men. And more so, the more dynamic, the more physical, the more energetic the situation is. So again, for many men, being on an athletic team, especially teams like soccer team, a football team, not on a tennis team, not on a golf team. So where there's physical contact with other men and your job is to hurt. It's similar to in a war. In a war, your job is to kill. But if you're in most sports, most physical, like soccer, rugby, American football, not so much European soccer, your job is to hurt the player. I mean, knock him out, so they have to take him out of the game. So I'm saying, so this is an unstated high for many, many men. I wanted to do that study. When the study was over, I wanted to do two research, to say, let's redo it with all women guards, women prisoners, and let's redo it because many people I knew who were into human development said, if we could train the guards, we could train them to be compassionate. We put them through compassion training, empathy training. You wouldn't get that effect. So I applied to Stanford to do two things. I wanted to do the study with only women, and we compared them with the study we did, and do a study where we have several experts train guards with different compassion versus empathy, and we would use the original study as the comparison. And the committee at Stanford said, can you guarantee that there would not be a negative outcome? No, you can't. If you could guarantee, you don't do it. Yeah. They said, if you can't guarantee, it could be negative, and we don't allow it. Yeah. So they said no. So we couldn't do it. But again, I think, I'm almost sure several women who had been in women's prison contacted me afterwards and said, the violence of guards against prisoners in women's prison is just more subtle. It's never physical. It's psychological. It's making you feel helpless, making you feel worthless. In some cases, making you feel like a child. In some prisons, they would encourage them even to have dolls or pets. But many of these are women who have families. Many of them are there because of drugs or prostitution, and so when they get out, they're even less able to function effectively in their family, in their life again. So men dominate by physical force, and women dominate by emotional, psychological force. But it would be nice to be able to show that. And again, there's almost no research in prisons I'm saying this, there's no research comparing a male prison with a female prison within the prison. That's what I'm saying. There's secret societies that we don't really know. We as psychologists, even criminologists, we don't know.